Welcome into the Paul Farrington Show. Paul joined alongside Jack Weinberger, Robert Ziggy Ziegler at the University of Virginia, and Zach Bloomquist, the best executive producer
They don't put a camera
in the
on
game.
me anymore.
No camera for Zach anymore. He's fallen asleep too much at the wheel here. But let's clap it up for 10,000 subscribers. We finally made it. We did it before the NFL draft. That was our goal. So here, Jack, we'll pop some champagne. As we said, destroy all the equipment on the show. Ziggy, we'll try and pour it through the screen to you.
Cheers. Ziggy, you want a couple sips?
But
I'll take a little bit.
Actually, it was very exciting for us to get to 10K. Ziggy, you did a great job on that Stefon Diggs instant reaction trade video that helped push us over the top. And intern Jeff, actually, a throwback to the very beginning of the show, was our 10,000th subscriber. Believe it or not, we were sitting there, and intern Jeff, of all the people, Jack's younger brother, looks at us and goes, I just made a YouTube account and I don't think I'm subscribed. And he wound up being number 10,000.
And what are the odds, too, that he presses the subscribe button at the Allendale Bar and Grill playing trivia? Right. I mean, it's destiny.
It was a great moment in time.
Cheers. Ziggy, I'm pouring you something to the screen, all right?
So we'll thank everyone who's been listening. It really is awesome. It's a lot of fun doing the show. We have a great time doing it, regardless of the attention that it may get. But when people are actually commenting and sharing their opinions on it, it really is 10 times more fun because, believe it or not, even though we can't react to every single comment, we see every single one, and it actually influences the way we may present the show, the topics that we bring up on the show. It really does impact it in many ways. So we appreciate everyone for all of the comments and opinions that you've been leaving. It's really awesome. So we'll clap it up to everyone listening as well.
And we're always putting in our group chats comments we find.
Oh, there's some
funny.
Great comments.
There's a million comments in our group chats with us laughing back and forth at it.
It's a group effort. And quickly, an apology for not having a show last Thursday. I was just under the weather all last week. So Ziggy, you did a great job putting the team on your back and carrying us to 10K.
That's why I'm on the tag this
That's why you make the big bucks, Ziggy. You make the big bucks.
He's under contract negotiations still. Obviously, I didn't realize that the fallout of not having an episode would be over here in New Jersey. I mean, earthquakes and eclipses is clearly something. There's some tie between this show running on a normal schedule and the natural world. So we'll try and keep everything under control moving forward. For today, we have an NFL mailbag. That's all we have. We're just going to hit on all the fan questions because it really is all the listeners who make this show. Like, I don't want to say make the show possible, but give us the enjoyment out of reading the comments and everything, like I said off the top. So we're just going to do a mailbag here, and we'll start. What better way to start it than Xavier McKinney and the Green Bay Packers? The question is, Ziggy, we'll go to you with this one. Big Carl, he says, is Xavier McKinney the key piece the Packers are missing for an NFC North division winner and Super Bowl team on defense?
I mean, I think this just tells you something about what I think. I think the key piece the Packers were missing to win the division was the franchise quarterback. And they got the franchise quarterback about halfway through the season. So, Xavier McKinney, I think he'll be useful. But you look at the impact an elite safety does. They make a few big plays a year. Impactful, but, not swinging more than a game or two in terms of outcomes. I think that he is a good player, but I do not think that he's the kind of guy that's going to push the team over the edge. The thing is, from where I'm sitting, this Packers team is already, assuming that they're as good as last year, in a position where if things break their way, they're going to win. And it's always good to have playmakers who can cover, who can tackle, who can do it all. So I wouldn't say he was the missing piece to push them over, because I think really they were already there, but it's going to make a difference for sure.
I mean, this was noticeably the biggest position that the Packers needed was the safety help in the secondary. I do agree with Ziggy, though. If you thought the Packers were a team who could have won it last year at the stage they were at in the divisional round, if you looked at this team and said, okay, this team is legitimate, McKinney obviously helps. I think he's a fantastic safety. I don't believe that there's much of a difference if they were a contender then versus now.
Mm-hmm. I see. I think it's a great addition. Ziggy's right. Ziggy's right that the quarterback is the piece. But quick thing before we move off this question with Xavier McKinney, I don't want to throw Darnell Savage under the bus here, but Packers fans remember missed tackling was a big problem for Green Bay last year. Darnell Savage, 17.4% missed tackle rate for his career, 8th highest in the NFL last year. You bring in Xavier McKinney now, 5.7 missed tackle rate last season. That was the best of 61 eligible safeties. He's going to be in cover one a lot with Hafley's system. You're going to have to make plays in the run game. You're going to have to make plays on an island. Xavier McKinney can do that. So in football, you can never say that one player comes in and can make that big of an impact. Or you can for a few guys, but mostly quarterbacks. I don't think Xavier McKinney is the guy to necessarily push them over the edge, but he's a huge addition that can really be a key supporting piece if Jordan Love is able to maintain the level of play he had. We have, and this is funny, everyone knows that I always struggle reading the mailbag names here, so I'm going to do the best I can. All right, I know how to read. Let's just get that out of the way. I know how to read. It's just pre-eclipse. He says, well, Jack, we'll do this one quick. How many Super Bowls will Jordan Love win in the next 5 years? I think at least 2. Merle came back. Merle clapped back for all Vikings fans. Thank God.
I saw that.
You have to beat the 49ers first before reaching the Super Bowl.
I saw that. I laughed at that.
That was great.
That was funny for Merle. Winning a Super Bowl is very, very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And Jordan Love is very, very good. But to come here and say, all right, like, I think he's winning 2 bowls in the next 5 years, that's legit. Like, that is legitimate stuff. I'd say 1.
Look, I would die for 1 Super Bowl.
Yeah, so of course. So would I.
I have to say one thing, which is I think the success of Brady and Mahomes has really warped people's expectations of what's realistic. 1 Super Bowl in a career is a great, great career for a good quarterback. 2 is even more incredible. And when you start talking about like 2 or 3, you're talking about a very small list of guys. If Jordan Love's an excellent quarterback, the Packers should hope for 1 Super Bowl. And I think they're going to get it. But it's different than, you can't just point and say, oh, yeah, man, Love's going to win 2 Super Bowls in the next 5 years.
I love the confidence in it. And I think there's a good chance that they do win 1 Super Bowl. But you have to guess 0. But I like, look, the Packers have as good a chance of anyone over the next 5 years.
Big Ben won 2. Drew Brees won 1. What does Peyton Manning have 2?
Rodgers won.
Rodgers won. Jordan Love played 1 very fantastic season. It's tough to go and say, all right, this guy's winning 2 bowls in the next 5 years.
Don't bite the hand that feeds you, Jack.
But look, I love the confidence too.
Don't bite the hand. The Packers are going to win 5 Super Bowls.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, right.
Okay, so from...
Although we're a much better franchise than the Packers, by the way.
From Ryu Hitsuya, he says, what does the NFC North... Hey, come on. I know I've messed up Ryu's name before, but that time nailed it.
Could we get some AFC North questions from these fans?
Here's another
Just
NFC
once.
North. What does the NFC North look like the next 5 years in comparison to the other NFC divisions? I'll take this one quickly. I actually think it stacks up really well compared to everyone else. If you take a look across the rest of the NFC, there's not too many teams in there where you can look at a young quarterback and say, all right, I have a lot of confidence in them going forward. I think you have that in Jordan Love. Jared Goff is 29 years old, something like that. And Jared Goff he's not as old as you might think. Caleb Williams, I think, is going to be very good. And the Vikings, I like the direction that they have, even though there's a lot of pieces that need to be filled in on that roster. O'Connell's a good coach, and they're going to get a rookie. I think the NFC North is actually right next to maybe the AFC South, the most promising future of any division in football. So it'll be very competitive for many years. Great coaches, young quarterbacks. I love it. I think there's a ton of talent. From Cusick, he says, first of all, congratulations on 10,000 subscribers. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cusick.
He says, I know you guys are very thankful, but I wanted to say, maybe. He said, I want to say how thankful we are too for the quality content week in and week out. I personally can't wait to see what other ideas for segments and what next will come and what comes next from you guys in general. So thank you very much. We really do appreciate that, Cusick.
Appreciate it, boss.
Who knows? Who knows what we'll try and think of for segments next year, but it should be a very fun football season. We have a couple fun ideas in the works right now. So let us know too if you have any that you'd like us to try out. He says, as for my question though, before the offseason moves...
there's more.
Yeah, there's more. Before the offseason moves, I saw a few people mention how their dream Super Bowl for next year would be the Texans versus the Packers, which as a Packers fan, I couldn't agree more. And we've mentioned this earlier, that Packers and Texans are 2 teams that we've compared all of last season. They just feel very similar. But after all these moves and key additions for both teams, do you think it's a realistic Super Bowl, or do you think the Chiefs and 49ers hurdles are too high to clear just yet? And also, what potential Super Bowl matchup would you guys like to see? So in terms of Texans and Packers, I don't think that the Chiefs or 49ers hurdle is necessarily too high. Packers are closer to the 49ers than the Texans are to the Chiefs just because of that Mahomes hurdle that you have to climb. I think both these teams really are loaded on the offensive side of the ball, and the defenses are getting better. They improved this offseason. I don't want to necessarily say that I'm not saying they'll beat them, but I think it's definitely on the table, and that would be a super fun Super Bowl to watch. Just still unlikely though.
It's not some impossible feat. Like it's not some set in stone thing. It's going to be Niners versus Chiefs. I'd say it's definitely more likely the Chiefs get back there than the Niners. I think the Niners could be dethroned. We saw it in 2 games last year on their home field. They probably should have lost to both Green Bay and Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's tougher for a young quarterback like Stroud to probably have to go on the road and beat a guy like Mahomes.
God, that'd be a really fun. I mean, obviously, we don't want to see the Packers there, but that'd be a really fun Super Bowl.
It would be incredible. I think Green Bay is like you said, is a better chance to get there, but it's not impossible at all.
Okay, and then Ziggy, we'll have you address the second part of that question. We mentioned, or we're going to mention in the Thursday show, the Super Bowls that we're predicting. But which Super Bowl would you like to see as a fan?
The Super Bowl I'd like to see, I'm setting aside a Vikings.
We'll rule out the Vikings.
Of course, the answer is the Vikings. Honestly, I'd love to see one of these young upstart teams get in from the AFC. So either, the Texans, the Colts, one of those teams, even like the Dolphins. On the NFC side, I don't know.
How do you feel about the Falcons?
How you feel?
The Falcons, they don't have the young quarterback. The young quarterback is like the thing you've got to fixate on, right? But with respect to the NFC, I don't know. I'd like to see a team like the Cardinals go, but that's not realistic. So I'm gonna have to take the Lions, a Lions and then a Texans Super Bowl. Lions Texans. That's a Super Bowl that's realistic enough that I'd really enjoy seeing.
Who wins?
Texans.
Zach, who's you root for, Dolphins or Falcons in the Super Bowl?
Dolphins.
Shut up. All right. We have from Patrick Cortazzo 6251. He says, "Congratulations on 10K subscribers." Thank you, Patrick. We appreciate it. Out of the cast of the show, who's most likely to become a Packers fan? Probably Jack, because Jack can be the most easily persuaded by money and gambling, and I can see Jack rooting for the Packers and putting money on them all year.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, like, you two being Minnesota Vikings fans, like, you will never become a Packers fan.
The order is Jack, Zach, Ziggy, Paul.
Yeah.
What do you mean? How am I?
Oh, I can 100% see you being blinded by the success of the Packers fans watching this show.
What do you mean? I have a team that has been nothing but garbage for the last 20 years of my life.
Yeah, that makes it even more likely.
If I'm watching,
welcome to the club, man.
Ziggy, I don't want to hear from
you. What are you talking about?
You were a Rams fan. I don't want to hear it.
The Rams, a team that historically has had so much.
He left before they won the Super Bowl.
That's not my problem, but they won the Super Bowl.
I'm saying one thing. If I'm watching football on Sunday, right, and I have no money on the Steelers and $100 on the Packers, who do you think I'm watching?
Yeah, that's the difference.
What's up, brother? What's up,
between
brother?
me and Ziggy, I would say it'd be very tough for me or Ziggy to move off of
Tuesday.
I mean, like, it's not happening, but between the two of us, I would say Ziggy's more likely to be.
Ziggy's more likely
to be moved on. I mean,
Ziggy's moved off teams before. I mean, he has a history.
But this was his true calling. We always knew that from the beginning. It was just trying.
I think his true calling is the Jets.
Ziggy, do you know who Sketch is?
Who?
What?
Sketch?
Special teams, special plays.
Where is this coming from?
Tuesday.
Where is that coming from? I keep seeing people do that.
He's the man right now. He's the man right now.
I have no idea.
Jacob, what's up, brother?
X Pomsky X. He's one of our favorite guys in the comment section. He says, "Am I becoming the lore guy for this show? Should I be like the Steelers locker room and start making TikTok dances? Do I try and contend with Ziggy's 100,000 Bachelor's video? Yes, playful dig at Jack." He says, "Love you though." There you go, Jack.
There we go.
Jack doesn't feel like he gets a lot of love.
I was saying before, like when it comes to the mailbag shows, all these questions are NFC North and Vikings. I'm just like the dude with red hair sitting next to Paul. And
well, he said, "Here you go. You gotta love you." Haha.
Appreciate that. I love you too.
Then, serious question: do you think the Wes Phillips suspension will drastically hurt the Vikings? I'm not really concerned at all.
I don't know Wes Phillips.
I understand.
Yeah. Who? You mean our offensive coordinator, Kevin O'Connell? Is that what you're talking about?
That's the answer to the question. Is that Kevin O'Connell is running this offense, and if Kevin O'Connell's suspended, then I'm very concerned about the offense. But as long as he's there,
he's going to return April 22nd, so he's back before the draft.
Yeah, I'm not. After that beautiful comment from Pomsky, you just come in and say, "Who cares about this?"
No. I mean, look, we should care about the crime he committed. That's unfortunate. We care about Pomsky XX. We don't care about this ridiculous suspension.
Is there a better chance that Ziggy wins the Bachelorette or Paul pitches in the World Series one day? No, the Bachelorette. Like Ziggy wins the Bachelorette.
Ziggy wins the Bachelorette.
I'm never going on the Bachelor.
Well, no, but you'd still be Ziggy because I suck at baseball.
But just on some like
no,
random,
there's no chance. There's no chance.
So you think Ziggy Bachelorette?
Jack, the fun thing about my baseball experience is whenever I play, I'm attached to great teams and win, but it's never because of me.
What about me playing?
I'm like the guy on the bench who's like begging for our team to strike out because I don't want to bat.
Me in the NFL or Ziggy going on The Bachelor one day?
Oh, Ziggy might be the Bachelor one. Yeah.
Like, would you legitimately do that, Ziggy? Would that happen or no?
No.
We're going to try. We're going to try.
We're about to have the
amount of money.
We're about to have the PFS Bachelor.
All right, guys, we got a lot of questions here. We got to move this along. Pre-Eclipse, he says, do you think post-Jordan Love era Green Bay will be 4 for 4? All right, I don't even know. 4 for 4 with the next quarterback at Hall of Fame level talent. Mouse with Clout says, don't answer that, Paul. So I'm not going to answer that because I don't even want to tempt fate for a 4 for 4. I don't even want to say we're 3 for 3 yet. Frank says, react to Aaron Jones' old video on the Vikings talking trash. Merle says he's a new man. He's seen the light. Look, Aaron Jones is on the good side of things now, and I'm super happy to take a beloved Packer yet again. It's going to be a great season in Minnesota for him. That's all I'm going to say for now. Again, not going to tempt fate too much. Good. Go Pack, go Infinity. Will the Bills be better after losing all their secondary, their center, and Diggs and Gabe Davis?
Well, watch our Thursday show.
We're talking, on the prediction show. We have some pretty good predictions for Buffalo. Pretty surprising.
This comes out tomorrow. Go watch our Thursday.
You can reason about this one.
No, I think that was sarcastic there. But look, Buffalo. As long as you have Josh Allen on, I'll give a little sneak peek. But as long as you have Josh Allen, obviously you have a shot to win games. It's a quarterback-driven league. But Buffalo, man, we talk about on Thursday. We recorded both shows today, if anyone can't tell by now. But
buy our clothing.
Look, Buffalo, buy our clothing. Or we just wear the same clothes every day of the week. I mean, it's a pretty disheveled group, so there's always a chance.
There's always a chance.
But Buffalo...
Ziggy's always got a collared shirt on. Easy.
Well, Ziggy always looks sharp. Look, that's why he's the Bachelor.
Yeah, Ziggy's not quite disheveled.
No, you're coming down here, and before I walked out to do the recording, and Zach's lying on the floor, and Jack's on the couch with his head up going, oh, God, am I tired?
Paul, your basement smells.
Yeah, no, look, I've just been sitting down here. I was sick all week. I was just sitting down here at 4 o'clock to midnight, lights off, staring at the wall. It was miserable. So, with that said, the Buffalo Bills, we expect some regression from Buffalo next year.
There'll be worse. Some element of addition by subtraction here.
There is. And look, would it surprise anyone if Josh Allen just lit the world on fire? He's one of the guys who can do that. So you have to take them as a threat always, but there were a lot of key losses to this team. Dan Stoyer says, and thanks again, Dan, for leaving another comment. How big of a problem is Stefon Diggs for a team? Seemed like the Bills were happy to see him go with that trade offer to Houston. And it was, for a guy like, you get a second round pick back at this stage in Stefon Diggs' career. I think Buffalo is very happy probably to get that compensation. Stefon Diggs, man, I know Jack doesn't like him.
You'll hear the answer on Thursday from me.
No, go ahead. You could give a little hint here. You want to give?
I think he's a very talented receiver, but I think this Texans team is very young, growing up together, and Stefon Diggs throws off the mojo, and I was not a fan.
Yeah, and Ziggy and I just disagree. There's a picture of Stefon Diggs, 7 feet away from me right here, and
when he was 25 and a superstar, was like 31 now.
Yeah, the Stefon Diggs effect is he comes in, and I think he's normally a very good teammate. Him and Josh Allen seemed like very good friends for quite a long time. I think they probably still are.
I'm much less worried about his off the field shenanigans, as we saw real regression from him starting around week 6 of last season. Diggs is not the guy he used to be.
From Richard Cheese 9152. This is just a quick comment here. He asked Ziggy how he solves the regress problem for irrational belief or the trolley problem.
You can see
there was a huge thread there. But Richard, it sounds like went to school with us at Notre Dame. He overlapped class of 2022 or 2022. So we're 2021. But yeah, go Irish, and thanks for listening. It's pretty cool to see someone who overlapped with us at ND. I'm sure at some point we crossed paths somewhere. Maybe we didn't realize it, but maybe on South Quad.
Probably at Ulf's.
Yeah, let us know what dorm you were in, Richard. From the Nova 51, he says, as a Packers fan, I think it's pretty obvious the only reason we didn't re-sign Aaron Jones was because of age and injury tendency. Seeing how he's been injured a lot over the last couple of years, including most of this last year, does that worry you as Vikings fans when you have to fall back on Sam Darnold in the passing game? I'm also not entirely sure how good Ty Chandler is, so maybe he's a good fallback plan as well. Ziggy, I'll let you take this one.
I'm not worried about the fallback plan for the following reason. This team stinks. Right? Aaron Jones is not taking us anywhere next year, no matter how good he is. You give us prime Adrian Peterson, and we're winning 8 or 9 games at most.
If you give us prime Adrian Peterson, we are exactly what we were in the late 2000s.
Yeah, no, I'm not worried about falling back on Sam Darnold because that suggests we have something to lose. It's like asking, you've got $1 in your pocket. Are you worried someone's going to take all your money? I mean, it sucked losing $1, but I'm not particularly worried about it. It's just $1. So
that is so good. That is so good, Ziggy.
Good. Ty Chandler's pretty good. I don't have worries about the running game, actually. But even if it sucks, even if Sam Darnold has to throw 45 times a game, it doesn't matter.
That's awesome. We'll keep the Ziggy show rolling on here. Stuckman goes, let's start with a philosophical question for my main man, Ziggy, the Ziegler, Zigmeister. How important are the intentions versus the consequences in weighing the morality of an action? An old saying, the way to hell is paved with good intentions, seems to be proven right time and time again, while good consequences can sometimes come. Jack is so far gone from this.
I'm about to get up and leave and go watch the UConn game.
While good consequences can sometimes come from people that have bad intentions. So, I am curious to see where you fall in this range and debate. How do you weigh the intentions versus consequences debate when it comes to morality? Ziggy, we'll give you like 30 seconds.
My headphones are off for your answers.
This is a classic mistake. The classic mistake, and it's not your fault. You've been misled. You've been misled to think that what has moral significance are things like the intentions or consequences of a particular action. But of course, that's not what has moral significance. What has moral significance is character. And character is about being disposed to act certain ways in a stable and unchanging way in certain circumstances. So without getting into some of the spookier things, I believe, I don't think the intentions versus consequences questions really getting at the core of what morality is about.
That's fantastic. I mean, Zach just started shaking his head.
If you don't think that's what morality is about is an important question, there's something very wrong with you.
I could better understand Chinese than what Ziggy just said.
I can talk to you with the classical Chinese philosophers thing. But I don't think we want to.
Okay, Stuckman's second party. Yeah, this is Zach. I was
like, what is that?
Stuckman goes, another earthquake. Now a question for Paul. What would it take to get you in a Packers jersey again? Would you do it if the Packers dominated the Vikings, won a playoff game, or went on a deep run? Could it be a donation? Oh, maybe that's not a bad idea. A donation goal for a live stream, like $50 equals half an hour in a Packers jersey, so on and so forth. $50, $50 I'll do more than half an hour in a Packers. Oh God, that would suck. Though.
Paul will do a lot for $50.
I like, yeah, right.
Paul will do a lot.
Yeah.
We know it from experience.
Yeah, right. Oh my God. The donation goal I kind of like. That could be kind of fun. Maybe as the season gets going. I like that idea. Look, it takes a lot to get me in a Packer jersey. Obviously, as Jack said, everything has a price. But it could definitely be done again, and I would be very uncomfortable, very, very upset doing it. But maybe for the right cause, we could find a way back.
Can you say this next question in a monster voice? Because I really just want to press the button.
You want to?
Zach wants to experiment. Can you hear that, Ziggy? Yeah, that's actually having fun. All right, go back.
This is indecipherable.
You can hear that, Ziggy?
I could hear the noise. I couldn't make out what
I love how we're finding effects. What other effects do we have on this?
Here you go.
Hello? Echo? Hello? Nice. This is where people are going to log off the show. Yeah, this is where it's over. Let's bring it back. Okay.
I want to hear Ziggy as a monster.
One more.
What is that? Hello, Ziggy. Oh, take that one off.
That's horrible. Okay. Milkman.
That's a funny name.
Milkman.
Milkman.
He just left a link.
Do you like chocolate milk or regular milk? I must have vanilla milk.
Chocolate milk.
Yeah, I agree.
But I drink regular milk.
I wonder what Milkman.
Milkman says he just dropped a link to an article, and this was really pissed me off. Not even a mention of what he's talking about. Just kind of showing us that Jordan Love. Chase Daniel said he's been working out with Jordan Love a little bit. He had the chance to, and that Jordan Love has such an intense focus this year that it only rivals the intensity that Drew Brees that he's seen from Drew Brees heading into a regular season. Now, I know that I know we've addressed the Jordan Love workouts before, and it's very easy to just look back and say, like, you know what? Everyone works hard. They're in the NFL. I do think, though, if you are a Packer fan, every time you see something like this, you have to just sit back and smile, because this is a quarterback who midway through the year, it clicked for him. It started to work, and you could become fat cats. It's very possible, very easy in sports to just sit back and be proud of what you accomplished and call it a day and think you could just ride into the sunset the next season. It's not how it works, because there's always someone working harder. And if you see if you see all these other quarterbacks, these successful quarterbacks, Hall of Fame level quarterbacks like Drew Brees working out with them and saying that the intensity is there, I think you're just sitting back going, man, we got another guy who not only this time does it seem like you got a talented guy, but seems like you got a guy also who's just great in the community, a great leader. And it completely sucks as a Vikings fan to see that.
It's Iowa State was a fat guy, by the way, too, in the NCAA tournament.
But I'm sorry about that.
It's easy for a young kid who was incredible to end the year to just go and say, like, you know what, like, all right, I got this. Like, I'm fine. I'm good. The improvement was unbelievable, and this, like, we clicked, and I'm okay. Now to see him coming back and working harder than he's probably ever worked before to want to even get better and take that next step is incredible for our fans.
Yeah. For our fans. It makes anyone who says the Packers are going to win the Super Bowl, you have to look at them and say, probably not, but it's a chance. I mean, of course, there's a chance. It's not unrealistic to think Green Bay's in the Super Bowl this year. I absolutely hate seeing this. Yeah. Ziggy, any comment? It just makes you sick to your stomach.
Yeah, I don't want to talk
we
about
probably
this
got time
anymore,
for like 3 more questions.
Yeah, well, a couple more questions here. James Library says, congratulations on getting to 10K, guys. And he says,
James.
Then, all right, I'll read this and then we'll answer quick here. James has a long question. He says, might seem like a loaded question. The Chiefs are on a referendum to have Arrowhead Stadium renovated to the tune of $500 million. This was a part of trying to get the Kansas City Royals a new stadium. The vote was along the lines of 59% no to 41% yes. The Chiefs have already hinted that they might consider moving the franchise. My question here is, when will the NFL bite the bullet and really start investing in these stadiums instead of trying to get taxpayers to front the bill, especially when Goodell comes out and says the NFL wants to have an annual revenue of $25 billion by 2027. That doesn't sit well with most taxpayers when the franchises start to cry, pour over not having a shiny new stadium. So, look, there's a lot that you could unpack with these questions here, but the general response that I have is the NFL is just all about making money at the end of the day. Look at all the things they claim are for safety issues, yet you see them adding games to the season, yet you see them adding wild card teams and extra games. At the end of the day, the NFL is a business. They're trying to make a ton of money. I don't see things changing at any time soon. With like the NFL is not going to front the bill for stadiums if they can avoid it. That's about as far as my knowledge goes on these sorts of questions.
Yeah, I was going to say anything, Ziggy. I don't have much.
Owners often talk about the alleged economic benefit of sponsoring these teams. There just isn't one when you look at the cost. I mean, Clark Hunt's the grandson of an oil tycoon, right? His net worth is in the billions. Teams like the Chiefs need to stop playing coy and pay up, because it's ridiculous for the government to subsidize what's in fact just like an opportunity. You know, it's a toy that makes you billions of dollars a year in revenue across the whole league. There's no reason for taxpayers to be stepping up to pay for this. Look,
I agree with you. I just don't know when we're going to see it.
We're already starting to see it, but
Sergeant Hattie 9822 says a breakdown of all the NFC North linebackers cores would be cool. We'll get into this a lot more as we start doing team previews, but I mean, look, the Bears, we know, have a very good linebacker core. The Vikings have essentially nothing. Like the Vikings, it's atrocious. It's been that way for a while now, since Barr and Kendricks were good. But then in Green Bay and Detroit, I think they also have pretty solid cores, and that's really. I mean, we could get into a lot more later on this season, but I think those 3 teams, solid linebacking groups, and the Vikings just have a long way to go to catch up to that. But the defenses in the NFC North, whichever defense steps up, all the offenses are going to be talented. Whichever defense steps up, that could wind up being the separating factor. Ziggy, do you have any comments on the linebackers in the North?
I want to see what happens in the draft, because I think a lot of these teams are going to be looking to take either defensive linemen or linebackers, especially as you get into the round. So I think it's when so much is up to change, it's tough to say at this point.
Look, in the NFC North, all of them are probably going to address the position in the draft as well. From McLevin, who always leaves a comment. So
I always love seeing his name.
Yeah, he goes, awesome videos coming out, guys. What are your thoughts on Matt LaFleur being surprised how the Aaron Jones deal went when it seemed it really wasn't tracking, when he wasn't tracking it or anything? I saw the comments you mentioned. I feel like he had to have been in the discussion for it a little bit, but I was surprised. I was surprised that he didn't have a better grasp on the situation. Now, do I necessarily believe that he really didn't know what was happening? Not really. Ziggy, do you have anything on LaFleur?
Good on the Packers for divvying up responsibility. You don't want your head coach involved in these debates because their job, like they get attached to players, they get attached to personalities, and it's their job to get the best out of what they have. You don't want guys like that making personnel decisions.
Sure. I was a little surprised.
Good on them.
Jack, we'll go to you for this one. He says, did you guys see the message by Dontayvion Wicks' coach? He said how he's about to go to the next level. And he said, I'll attach it for reference. My favorite thing is a coach knowing a guy's about to take over, but nobody knows yet. It's like you're sitting on the big secret. Then boom, the world finds out and they go crazy. And we just sit back and laugh because it was just planning. It wasn't random. It wasn't luck. It wasn't the perfect situation. We fought for it for years. Then we do it again. We increase the value. This game is about getting the highest value early, then increasing it even more until they have no choice but to meet your demands. We've done it over and over again, but for some reason, everyone comments how lucky or perfect the situation was. So I guess I'm writing all this just so y'all are on notice now. He's next. Dontayvion Wicks, Pack situation. What do you think about that whole thing?
I think that there's a lot of food to go around for several people.
A lot of mouths to feed?
Yeah, a lot of mouths to feed. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, there's a lot of mouths to feed. I think he's a super young, talented receiver, but like the rest of this Green Bay team, it's tough for me to see anybody really breaking out heavily amongst the others.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's what Green Bay wants. Like all these guys get their fill. They're so hard to cover when it's all four of them. And if someone's off one day, somebody else steps up, and then vice versa the next week. I just think because of who's around Wicks right now, I don't really see him being this breakout superstar anytime soon.
Too many mouths.
But I think he's a fantastic receiver and a very good asset for this team.
Packers receiver corps is so unique in the NFL right now because most of the time you're headlined by a superstar. And there's a chance, again, with Wicks, could be Watson, could be any of them, could be Dobbs, who knows?
No, listen, I'm sorry. His personal coach, you mean basically his agent. This is the equivalent to, Sammy Watkins is in the best shape of his life, guys. Now he's got Patrick.
No. I understand.
This means nothing.
No, I understand. I'm just saying.
Wicks he's a good receiver.
Yeah, I'm just saying with the Packers, the unique thing about them.
You can't read anything into this.
Is they have so much talent.
No disrespect to the question asker, but
Ziggy comes in and just rips it apart. The Packers have so much talent at receiver, and it's neat to see, four guys who are really just amazing. And with the young quarterback growing. So it'll be fun to see if one of them steps up. I still think they're just a great unit that'll continue to operate as such. Yeah. The last question we have, the very last one, Ziggy, I'll let you, because there's a ton of philosophy questions from Paul Lantow. Great name, by the way, Paul. Great name. He has 3 questions. Why don't you pick, since we're going long here, why don't you pick one of these? Do you have them in front of you?
I can pull them up. How about you just give me?
Okay, I'll go with the first one he asks here. He goes from... It's great that Merle goes, these are the questions we need answers for. He goes, from classical philosophers like Plato and Aristotle to early modern philosophers like René Descartes, their writings also included serious studies and advancements of the field of physics. In current modern philosophy, though, serious physics studies is rarely part of the mainline discourse. Beyond gilded-tongued metaphysic hucksters waving their hands and muttering string theory, today physics and philosophy will be part of 2 different schools/colleges in a typical university. What do you think caused this rift between these 2 fields that used to be intertwined, and can you pinpoint when it occurred?
Actually, yes.
This is
largely a result of the emergence of the modern German university system. And a lot of people might think, what do German universities have to do with this? But here's the fact, right? Is the idea of there being different academic departments or specialties is really, it's a combination of the fact that fields of knowledge became increasingly technical around the turn of the 18th century. Like Cartesian physics was deeply philosophically instigated, even like Newtonian physics to a certain
look
extent.
on Zach's face right now.
Here's the thing is that the German university system is really what led to the distinction between departments or schools in this way. And the thought that you don't really get systematic knowledge anymore. Now, I will say metaphysicians, at least in the United States, are not talking about string theory. For the most part, they're largely ignoring what's going on in physics. And I think this is a real shame, actually. I think that philosophy of physics, I work on the history of philosophy of science, but the philosophy of physics and thinking about what physics might have to say philosophically is important because of this modern university system, physicists often don't really know a lot of the implications about what they're saying. So I think there's a lot of value to be had here. I think I'm sympathetic to some of the differences that a lot of what's going on in the
dry gin
is something like mathematical structure, which is very different than you might think, but upon some reflection is not as crazy as people might think. I don't know. That's a very short answer to the question, but the basic answer, set aside that Plato wasn't actually doing much in physics. I don't think that's right. But the German university system is really where this emerges. There's parts of it that's a shame. And with respect to your third question, I do think it's immoral to get people to be Vikings fans.
That's what I was going to say. Yes or no to the last question. Okay. So, oh my God. That was amazing. That was really good.
What?
Okay.
We'll
wrap up.
Everyone knows about what. Come on.
Everyone knows it, Jack. Everyone knows it.
I guess I'm a fool.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening. Thanks for all the mailbag questions. Continue to drop them, please, whenever we throw out these questions or just comment on the video. It's super fun for us to go through these and answer them. And honestly, in a time of year where it's kind of been quiet lately, they've been extremely helpful for us planning out and performing these shows. So we appreciate it from everybody, and we're glad to be back. Very happy to be back, feeling better, and hopefully we'll have a lot of great content coming out the rest of this week and next week as the draft continues to come in. Keep throwing those philosophy questions at Ziggy, because clearly he can answer any of them.
That was the best part of our show.
It was amazing. So great job, Ziggy, and we'll see you guys Thursday.